Hi, beautiful collective. I have a collective reading ready for you today. As you know, I've been doing sign-specific readings. I just wrapped up week 3, I believe it is, doing 3 a week. Yeah, 3 a week. So next week is my last week for this month's round, and then I'll make a decision about whether to continue or not. I would love to hear your feedback. If you have any thoughts about that, feel free to leave me a comment or a comment about something else. I'd love to hear from you either way. But today's reading is a collective reading, and because of that, you'll see some different cards. I did go ahead and get the cards out and I videotaped it. I try to do that when I remember for the collective readings. So I'm going to insert that here, and then I'll meet you back on the other side. Welcome back. I know you're happy that I speed up that video because it takes me a long time to get the cards out. Now that you've seen what I have in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So one thing that I did differently this time, and you might have noticed it in the process of me getting the cards out, is that I incorporated the use of these clear tarot cards. They are really cool. Each card is clear, and so you wouldn't be able to see it if I didn't have a white card behind. And what you do is you stack them so that when you get your cards out, you can put them together and see the image that all the cards that you pulled create together. As a reader, that's really exciting because so much of what you get from the cards is visual hits of intuition. So by stacking the clear cards together, it's just a really cool combined visual image. So I want to show you one by one, and then I'll stack them so you can see the image from the combined picture. So first I have the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords, you can kind of see there's a figure on a boat. The Six of Swords often depicts someone on a boat. They're moving away from a difficult time and heading to calmer waters. So it really symbolizes letting go. The person in the cards often looks pretty weary, pretty tired. They have packed light. They've definitely had a rough season, but they are moving on. And because there are calmer waters ahead, it's a really hopeful and optimistic card. It symbolizes new beginnings. Along with that, what I have is this Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles shows somebody holding on to 4 pentacles, and pentacles signifies like money or tangible material abundance. Holding on to the 4 pentacles can symbolize scarcity. It can also symbolize just really feeling the need to safeguard what you have because it hasn't felt safe. It's a very protective stance. And then I have this Two of Swords, which to me also always symbolizes a very protective stance. The way that the figure is holding the 2 swords across their chest, for me, it always feels like they're blocking access to somebody or some energy. So again, it's very protective. And this is what it looks like when you put all 3 together. You can see the protective stance here, and this story that's being told about the need to move away from what caused a need for so much protection and heading in the direction of more freedom, more safety, calmer waters, moving away from the need to feel so armored and guarded. To me, that kicks off the energy of this reading. In your underlying energy, I see more of that. I pulled both an endings card and a beginnings card. So that figure on a boat, leaving behind the previous chapter and heading off into calmer seas, really does a great job of depicting what this is saying here. In order to have a new beginning, we have to have left something behind. For anyone that this reading pertains to, you've done that. And perhaps in order to do that, you've needed to be in somewhat of a period of solitude. This doesn't have to mean that you've been hiding away, but it might mean that you've been conserving your energy. Again, that Four of Pentacles where she's holding on, blocking access, this sense that I've needed to really sort of retreat, pull my energy back from something. That's what this card is symbolizing to me. It's echoing the fact that you've needed to do that. And then what I have here is take a risk and leave your comfort zone. So to me, when I look at the endings card, the beginnings card, the solitude card, which came out along with this, take a risk and leave your comfort zone, it seems to be suggesting that it's time to let that guard down. Not completely, because I do see some things here, but it seems to be the case that you're leaving the worst of it, whatever that means to you in your situation. Underneath the take a risk, leave your comfort zone, I have let love in. So this certainly suggests that it's time for this collective to consider allowing your heart to be seen, allowing your heart to lead, taking off that protection that you might have needed to carry over your heart space for some time, and allowing yourself to feel a little bit more softness and vulnerability in this new beginning. That theme has come up in other zodiac readings this week. Feels like this message is very purposeful because across the collective readings in the zodiac specific signs, I've been getting a feel for who the collective is that I read for. And what's becoming more and more clear is that this seems to be a collective of people who are currently or who are coming online as messengers and guides, because the message seems to be coming out over and over again that it's time to step forward. And there seems to be a lot of themes around preparing for that, letting go of what would be holding you back and keeping you from being able to do that work. And everyone's going to fall on different timelines with respect to this work, but that's a thread that has really woven everyone together. Okay, so a couple of additional cards that I pulled out to kind of kick this reading off have the messages of take great care and fast progress. These are reversible cards. The fact that these came out together say to me that there's a need to take great care because there's fast progress ahead. So what I get from this is that because there's work being done to sort of get rid of the obstacles that have been on your path, that have slowed down your progression toward stepping into this role of messenger or guide, however that applies into your life. When I say messenger or guide, please don't be intimidated by those words, by that description. This can be for your family. This doesn't have to be for a big collective. But this preparation work of removing the obstacles that stand in our way, which show up in our lives in many forms, including habits, patterns, cognitions that aren't very helpful, an inner child that's in need of care, relationships that take us outside of our center. Anything can really serve as a block. So what's been showing up in all the readings is different versions of guidance around disentangling yourself from those things. And the messages always come along with it that this is important because you're needed in some way. So take great care because there's fast progress ahead really echoes that. Treat yourself like a really valuable asset. And then this fast progress being what's possible when we reach a certain threshold with respect to that shedding work, because it's sort of like you're cutting away the weights that have been holding you down. And then at some point, when enough of those weights have been cut away, you have no choice but to take off. And that will happen quickly. Okay, so now that I've sort of explained all of that, what I want to also mention is that there are two rows that appear to have themes that have to do with romantic relationships, partnerships of some sort, important relationships, connections. That has been showing up in the readings lately. I never sit down with the intent of doing a relationship reading, but every once in a while the cards just come out that way. And in a couple of rows, it does seem to be that that's the case. And like I said, it showed up in some of the zodiac readings as well. So there's enough of us where there are relationship themes that are important here. In the first row, what I have is this beautiful hope card. In this deck, the hope card is the star card. The star card is illumination, it is wish fulfillment, and it can also speak about destiny. I want to say that for this card in this specific reading, all of those terms can apply in different ways. In this specific row, there does seem to be a destiny aspect to this because what came with it is attraction, earth angel, and mature man. So here there does seem to be something that's coming forth about a destined partnership that you're attracting if you are looking for one. And something that has come up in previous readings as well is that somebody's not very happy about that. This confusion energy that might show up as a person, it might show up as an energy. In either case, it's something that has stood in the way and has created obstacles in the past. It feels like that is a chapter that's starting to close. That's a little bit of what I'm sensing from this endings card and from that image in the transparent card of the boat moving on to calmer waters. Okay, in the next row, what I have is this gorgeous fertility card. This energy is what you're sitting in now or will be soon as a result of cutting those weights free. You'd be sitting in very fertile, expectant energy now. Your soil is very fertile. It can grow just about anything at this time. If you're looking for a relationship, it might be a relationship. If it's something else, it might be something else. It can be multiple things. I feel like this reading is saying it is multiple things. What I have along with that is this assessing card. So there's a couple messages that I get from this, and it comes a little bit from what I remember the book saying. It speaks to the ability to now move forward and be fruitful and create. So fruitful, again, another word for fertile. So two cards side by side that really imply that you have pure potential in your energy right now. But this assessing card also talks about looking for your blind spots and needing to assess as you move forward. It really encourages you to make a plan. It's asking you to assess your situation and feel into what sorts of structure can you bring to this process. In other words, how can you continue to navigate around obstacles and increase the odds that you actually do get to where it is that you want to go? And what I have along with that is work your magic and ritual. So when I see ritual, for me, what this speaks about is the need to ritualize your routines, to bring meaning and intention to each step that you take forward, to really feel into the energy of what it is that you're wanting to do, and to bring ritual and magic to that. That energy that you create in the process of doing that is manifestation gold. It really creates a vibrational frequency that pulls what you want to you. And then along with that, what I got is this third eye chakra card. So this to me is speaking a little bit about this as well. This assessing, it's not just about sitting down with a pen and paper and looking at your life from a really practical way, although definitely include that, but also allow your intuition to guide some of this process. Allow yourself to feel into what's landing in your awareness as a sense of knowing, and allowing that to also play a role in what it is that you're doing here, in the plans that you make and the rituals that you create in your life and in your day-to-day. Okay, so then what I have next to that is a row that speaks about the fact that, again, that the reason why this is possible at all is because you have let something go. This card says possibility, and there's a hand here, and this is essentially what that hand is letting go of. So this card to me is just honoring the fact that you have needed to do that. You've been in the process of doing that. Maybe you've already done that. And then along with that, the card God is Proud came out as well. This to me feels like a little bit of a hug, saying like, I know this was hard. I see what you've done. That can't have been easy, right? But what you've done is that you've created an Ace of Swords energy in your life. This is triumphant success. This hand is coming out of the ground. It's almost like this person is rising from the grave. It might have felt at times like this is how hard it's been to let this go. And when I say let this go, we might be talking about a relationship. We might just be talking about habits, patterns, whatever it is that was getting in the way, whatever those weights are that were holding you back and that you've been cutting the cords to. This collective has reached a certain threshold in that. And that is why there is so much fertile potential all over the readings that we've been doing this month and all over this reading as well. Along with all of that, I have the Starseed card. So you'll see in this reading as I move forward, there's a few different cards that reference the fact that we have some pretty special people in this collective. We have Starseed, we have Priestess, we have High Priestess showing up twice, which I haven't even gotten to yet. All of this energy simply to say, you're a magical group. You're a group that knows how to work with energy. You're a group that has a calling that is very important. And perhaps as time goes on, we'll learn more and more about what that means. And for each of you, this will show up in different ways in your life. But it could be we're just getting started and we don't even realize that. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. And in some ways, how we're knitted together just by the fact that we're gathering here together. Yes, it is an online space, but energy doesn't care about that. It simply knows that there's something that's meant to happen. So in the next row, a few more cards came out that really continue to speak about those weights that you've needed to let go of. So I have this emotional withdrawal. And this card in the traditional tarot really just speaks about walking away from something that no longer serves. In order to do that, you've needed to use a lot of discernment. That's what this card's about here. You've needed to tap into your clarity. And what that's allowed you to do is step into this new role. This is the Priestess card. Again, whatever you want to call it, there seems to be this role that so many in this collective either already feel or will soon feel are being asked to step into and embody in some way. Okay, so the next and final row, I have Focus and this Intuition card. Intuition in this deck is the High Priestess. So again, another card that speaks to this really intuitive, magical collective that we have here. These two cards go really well together because although this is essentially the High Priestess card in the tarot, this is what the High Priestess is able to do. She's very tapped in. She's extremely connected with the divine, extremely energetically attuned. She knows how to work in between the different layers of reality, serving as a bridge between the 3D world and the higher realms. That's what this energy is about. And then along with that, I have They Admire You, Intuitive Kev. This is so funny. I don't know why this card is called Intuitive Kev, but for me it signifies a masculine energy who is also deeply tapped into these sorts of energies, but on the masculine end of that spectrum. And then along with that, I have this nice guy. So you have this feminine spiritual energy, you have they're attracted to you, and then this masculine spiritual nice guy energy. It feels like a deeply aligned partnership of some sort. If this is something that you've been wanting, that you've been calling out for, sending out a signal for, it feels like the work that you've been doing to disentangle yourself from the obstacles that were holding you back is going to allow this to show up for you just as readily as these other blessings that you are in this expectant energy around. So in many ways, this reading really feels like one big encouragement. It seems to be saying, hey, I see you. I see how hard you've been working here. I'm proud of you. God, Spirit, whatever it is that you believe in, sees the work that you've been doing and wants to applaud that. And not only that, wants to encourage you to continue and let you know what this means from an energetic standpoint. The more that you clear that energy that no longer fits, that no longer resonates in your life, the more that you clear that out, the more that makes room for what it is that does resonate with you to be called in. I feel like it's also really strongly emphasizing how powerful your energy is at this time. And because of that, how important it is to hold an energy of expectancy, of belief that what you desire is coming, that it almost can't not come unless you block it. And if you're minimizing how powerful you are, you may not realize how easy it would be for you to accidentally block what it is that you really want. Because this fertile energy in the hands of somebody like this is going to go somewhere. It's going to pull something in, so you might as well make it what you want. I hope this feels encouraging. I hope that it feels like your hard work is acknowledged. I definitely see you. I bow to you. I salute you. This has not been an easy road. None of this has come easily. It's required sacrifice. Okay, I want to get one oracle card for you and we'll wrap up your reading. One oracle card for the collective. Okay, we got Lifting the Veil, Questioning Everything. Anything unaligned must go. This is what we've been doing, right? Let's see if I can find the description of this in the book. Lifting the veil. Yep. Okay. I won't read the whole thing because it's pretty long, but the summary at the bottom says, what isn't congruent in your life? How are you being called to bring it back into harmony? You're being called to trust yourself. Notice what's out of alignment and then take the baby steps required to bring it back into harmony. This is no easy feat, but it's so worthwhile, both individually and for the planet. If we tolerate things in our life that aren't aligned and congruent, we add to the misalignment of the planet. I'm kind of skipping around here. If you pull this card, you're being called to energetically scan your life for things that may no longer be a vibrational match for who you are and how you've grown, to dismantle the systems and ways of being that once served you and others but no longer do. This era is one of uncovering mistruths so that we can remember ancient truths. Everything is in a state of recall and realignment. Anything that is not in harmony will not survive. This is exactly what we've been talking about, and it really describes the work that this reading is saying that you've been in the process of doing. And for some of you, you've already come a long way with that. The cutting of the cords to the weights that have been holding you down. What this didn't speak to is the fact that removing what no longer aligns allows what does align to powerfully come in like a magnet. And so as you wait for that, you are pregnant with possibility. You are in this state of pure expectancy. I love that so much. I hope this reading was helpful. I'll go ahead and leave it here. I'll come back with a new video soon. Bye.